Alright, what up guys, man, Abuamerican. I'm just showing you how to change out a broken screen here. You got a broken screen. Remember I told you about the cover. It's a decent cover, but you see it doesn't protect the front. And when the phone fell, it fell front forward like this where there's no protection. And so it cracked the screen. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to replace it. It is a semi-complicated, procedure, but it's not rocket science. So you want to open up the side after you turn off your phone, get a little tray to store your screws and whatnot. So you got small Phillips head screwdrivers. You got various tools that you'll need. We'll describe that later. And you just want to unscrew that very gently and make sure your screw goes inside the tray and not inside your phone. These screwdrivers are generally magnetic, so there we go. Okay, so now what we need to do is this cover, we need to pry it off.
Alright, so basically this video, I kind of messed it up because I cut a lot of sections out, so it's not really fit for purpose. But, hey, if you ever need help, like fixing the screen or anything, let me know. Anyway, here, I was trying to take off the protective covering, and, I just cut my fingernail, so I couldn't get it off, so I used the pry tool, the plastic pry tool to get it off, and that probably is the best bet to use.
Okay, so now after we got that paint in the rear cover off, I'm just going to set that to the side. So now what you want to do is, before we go any further, one thing that a lot of videos won't show you to do is you want to just go ahead and test this screen. Now as you can see right here, I have the entire screen. Don't just get the glass covers. The glass covers, you're going to have to figure out a way to glue. You're going to have to peel off the glass and glue this thing onto the glass. And it takes a specialized type of glue and training to do that. And most people just don't have that ability. So it's probably best to just, get the whole what's this thing called, modulator or something like that, and yeah, just go from there. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do now. We're gonna test this, and this is like looking all funky. This is gonna fold over like that here. So anyway, what we do is we use our little pry tool, our electronics pry tool. Try not to get your fingers in there too much. We're just gonna pry that up off of it and fold it out of the way. So now we need to try and attach this. So now it's attached. And now we do what it was trying to do the whole time and we didn't want it to, which is turn it on. There we go. So now we got the screen tested and we know that the screen is working. We're going to test its touch function in a second here. We'll let it power up and boot up, and we'll test its touch function. You don't want to go through the whole process of taking the entire phone apart and then having to find out that the touchscreen doesn't work and then you got to send it back to the manufacturer because or the person you bought the screen from, because the touchscreen doesn't work. Just wait for this boot up here. And then blah, 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 blah. It works. Okay? Boom. Alright. So we're just going to turn this off and go back to business. You can pause it now.
Okay, so here, I start trying to remove all the connectors between the motherboard and, other parts of the phone. And there's like these, I don't know what you call them, like retainer frames on the top and the bottom. Now, if you have a Huawei, like the little white covered dots, you got to scratch those off so that you can get the covers off. That's something I didn't do here. And you come to see later on that I'll cut the video because one of the connectors I actually managed to break. But right there where you see I pointed, that's like the little white covers over a screw. You have to get those off. So after my experience with this, really messing up a few things, I'd feel comfortable doing it. This connector right here, right where you see where I'm about to pull off this little connector, I actually broke that. That's the one I was talking about where I had to jerry rig something. I'm talking about it later. I broke that connector right there.
Okay, so after a harrowing experience doing this, you can see I've changed out the screen. Unfortunately, I cut out like a lot of what to do. I took all this apart and put it back together, but I did do some screw ups, and that's why we ended up stop filming so I could focus and do some other stuff instead of thinking about camera angles and whatnot. So what we're going to do now is we're going to test it to see if I messed it up entirely. Alright, so we've got functionality on the screen. There's a connector that I kind of broke it. And that's when we stopped filming, because I had to do like mother of all, what do you say, necessity is the mother of all invention type of Hail Mary pass repair thing. So we're going to check the functionality of the phone here, keypad, camera, and whatnot before we finish putting it back together to see if I got to do a jerry-rigging job on this connector that I managed to screw up like a dummy. Obviously, I'd say if you're weak of constitution, this is not a project to take on yourself. Don't cover the screen. Okay, don't cover. Oh, it says don't cover the top of the screen. So you see there's something wrong here. Maybe it's this thing. It is not. So what we got to do is we got to take this apart again, because something's blocking this. It's probably the tape or something I used, for the cover. So we got to look and see what the issue is inside. But basically, it's like it says do not cover the top of the screen. So something up here, one of these sensors is being covered, maybe by the tape or something. So I need to take it apart and figure it out.
So here, basically, I'm reassembling the phone after I took everything apart again, found out what the problem was, which was the connectors on. You see the black piece line in front of the phone? It actually has like hardware that has to connect to the phone. The top and the bottom are like that. And so when I put the top on, the part I'm putting on right now, I didn't snap it in place. And that was causing like a malfunction to show like, I guess it's the sunlight or the cover. Like the top of the screen is covered. So when you put these things back together, make sure everything snaps back into place. If it comes off with considerable force, you're going to have to push it back on with considerable force. And that particular piece, the one I'm screwing in right now, the silver plate, it came off with considerable force. It snaps into place. It has actual connectors in it that are needed for the phone to properly function. Yeah, all in all, the project was a success. And as I said, if you ever need help taking a phone apart, I'll gladly help you with it. Hit me up on, private message, and I'll walk you through it.
Okay, so now we're going to do second test, rehook up the battery and everything. We're going to check and see if this fixed the whole don't cover the screen part. If it didn't, then fine. We can make it work without it, but it would be, as my daughter said, tedious to have to do that over and over and over. Nonetheless, it's better than a broken screen. I'd rather do that than have a broken screen. And yes, I am nervous. My fingers are very sweaty and everything. That's why I'm doing this on top of a towel so I can wipe my hands off. Yeah, come on, baby. Okay, so let me type in my password real quick. Don't look. And as we see, the whole don't touch the top of the screen thing is gone. So what it was here on the back, this part has to clip in because there's actually electronic connectors onto the entire frame part that you saw come off, including on the bottom. And so it wasn't connected right. It didn't work right. So now we have, just to show camera functionality, works front and back. My daughter gets out of there. You saw the top of the forehead, but you didn't see nothing special. So everything is working, as you can see, yeah. So what we're going to do, we're going to shut her down again. We're going to finish putting her back together. Basically, after this, it's just a matter of putting the cover back on. And we have replaced the screen on the phone. So basically, just replacing this. Oh, you can talk through this while I carry my stuff. Now, the reason why I do this is multiple reasons why I'm making a video of this. Is first and foremost, a man, and I'm all about manhood. And for this particular regards, my daughter too, because my daughter helps me with all my technical stuff. You shouldn't have any fear of, going into matters that are generally considered to be outside your area of expertise and specialties. Don't have fear. Fear is not a methodology to carry through life, to where you're afraid of doing things that you've never done before just because, you're afraid you're going to screw up. Even though This is something you don't want to screw up. You know, this is why you have to go into things in life with bravery, you know? Push this down. There we go. So everything is lined up. I'm just checking to make sure the cover is on and the screen is on nice and right. Because the only thing holding the screen on is tape, really. So just want to check your line here. Make sure everything's right. Just give it some pressure. Nothing to where you want to break the screen again. And just in case, you know, you're in doubt, I'm going to pull this off because I got a phone cover that's coming. I'm going to pick it up tomorrow. So I did do it. You know, it was me. And this thing came off. Boom. This, I forgot this thing. It's called modulator or something, whatever it's called. If you get the screen and the... It starts with an M. I don't think it's modulator, but whatever it is. Otherwise, you're going to have to peel off this glass from this metal part right here. You see how this is peeling off? And it takes a special type of glue. See, I'm not going to throw this away because this thing is still good. But you got to be careful, you see, or you mess up your touch screen here underneath. And then you're going to have to glue the new glass on top of this thing, which, well, actually, you see it's broken here also. So, khalas. This thing is toast. Actually, this comes off also. I could probably still keep it, but you see how there's damage to the actual screen itself? You see there's oils on here and everything. It's just too much work to try and do this unless you're an absolute specialist. Now, this is the type of level that I wouldn't try and go to. You know, despite claiming bravery and whatnot, this is just, unless you are, you know, specialized in this stuff, I wouldn't try and mess with this. This is just, you know, it's beyond me. So anyway, there you go. Change the screen. You see it works. Whew. I'm sweating like a madman here. It's your man Abuamerican, showing you that men should be well-rounded. We should be able to cook, clean, and fix anything, or just about, except for a nuclear reactor with chocolate like MacGyver or something. Catch me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, all at Abuamerican. I'm out.